The Board of Cosmetology meeting is convening at 10:08 a.m. on June the 12th, 2025. This meeting is being held in person and through MS Teams video conference and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. I will now call roll. Tracy Promo, here. Harold Fox.
Here.
Chelsea Westcott.
Here.
Jamie Farron.
Absent.
Beatrice Vann.
Here.
Alicia Reed.
Here.
Sarah Schilling. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your name for the record. Board members are asked not to use the chat feature during the meeting. The Health Licensing Office asks that individuals attending through MS Teams keep their phones muted and cameras off during the entire meeting or until they are given an opportunity to comment during the public and interested parties feedback period, if indicated on the agenda. Public comment is limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda or topics relevant to what this board has statutory authority to regulate. Public members wishing to speak, please sign in on the roster sheet available in the room or email Josh Page at josh.page@oha.oregon.gov and provide your first and last name. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocol when conducting board business.
Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Can we get someone to open it up?
This is Chelsea Westcott. I move to approve the agenda.
This is Beatrice Vann. I second the motion.
Awesome. So for the vote, Tracy Promo, aye. Harold?
Aye.
Chelsea?
Aye.
Jamie? Oh, Beatrice?
Aye.
Alicia?
Aye.
So passed.
Okay. Got a retake exam. Oh, and I think Derek is on.
Bobbing today? I'm sorry. Bobbing.
We had an appointment not that long ago. He will be here though.
Hi, everybody. This is Derek Foltz, the qualification analyst here at the Health Licensing Office. So before you, we are looking to get some feedback from board members. We have an applicant who has failed the hair exam for the 10th time and just looking to see what her next step should be.
Do we have any, this is Tracy Promo, do we have any information on if they have received any kind of tutoring or help or anything, assistance?
At this point, they have not.
No tutoring.
This is Chelsea Westcott. I would start with tutoring. 10 times is a lot. Is there a reason they haven't asked for tutoring or anything like that? Do you know?
We don't do the study reviews anymore unless it's a special situation like this.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. I forgot about that.
So just Tracy, I agree with Chelsea. We should do a study review. They're relatively close. They kind of get better and better, which is nice.
Yeah, they're definitely headed in the right direction. So we can reach out to her and get that study review scheduled.
Great.
Okay. Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you, Derek.
Director's report is for the board member resource memo. Everybody, I think, is good to go. Nobody, I mean, some of you can't reappoint on the next go around, but you have out till 2027. So there is some training linked in the document that it'll denote if you're required to take it or not. So note that we have to take it too. So we feel bad for you because we have to do it as well. That's it. That's it for that one. Tina's going to give the licensing and fiscal report.
Good morning, this is Tina. Your first slide is how many licenses were issued for barbers. Any questions on that one? Okay, next one is hair design.
Here.
The next one is nail technology. And natural hair care.
This is Tracy. We had none in Q3 for natural hair care.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Wow.
That's why we're not there yet.
We're not in third quarter or fourth quarter. So yeah, that makes sense.
Well, there's that. We'll get you a revised one. How about that? Well, actually, it's right here. It's a
I was
fiscal.
like, this is Chelsea Westcott. The other programs have a Q3 and a Q4 already for
Right.
2025.
Right. It's a fiscal year, so it shifts. It's not actually January to December. It's
Right.
July to June. So it is done.
And then aesthetics. Next one is the cosmetology independent contractor. Freelance. The next one's the facility licenses. And the next chart is how the next few charts are going to be how many licenses were renewed by paper or online. Barber is still lower on the online, but when you get to hair design, yay, lots of them are renewing online, and we're really liking to see that. Same with nail technology, way more are renewing, over half are renewing online. Same with natural hair care, they're pretty even. Estheticians, yes, a lot more online. And then independents are by far the best with renewing online, which is cutting down our work here in the office. Only thing we're doing is printing and mailing the licenses. But yeah, I mean, hopefully pretty soon in the next year, we'll see way over half or more doing online renewals, which would be fantastic.
That's great.
Okay, then we're gonna go on to the licensing trends for barber. They've gone up a little. Hair's gone up a little. Same with nail. Am I going too fast? Okay.
Nope, you're good.
Natural hair care, it's gone up. Aesthetics. Gone up. Independent has gone down by 10 or so. Not much. Freelance authorizations have gone up. And I think that that is due to our rule change. Yes, not having to take the test, and they can renew online, and they can renew every year.
So I ask a question in regards, this is Harold, in regards to freelance authorization. Are there any, for example, temporary freelance authorizations? One of my barbers asked about that. No? So it's just gonna be an exam and then or just apply online
Okay.
and pay? Okay, thank you.
You can get a temporary facility license, but you're better off getting a freelance.
Just for freelance.
Yeah, and you go anywhere outside of the license.
Okay. And they don't, and basically it's just apply and get it.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
just like independence, way easier now.
You have to have an active practitioner license.
Right,
You don't have to take a test.
okay,
No test.
thank you.
Pay and apply.
And cosmetology facility licenses. Gone up. And then, the next slide would be licensed by gender and age.
I think that's.
Overall.
Tracy, do you want to designate a board member to, I think that maybe we can streamline some of these reports a little bit. Would somebody, a board member, be willing to kind of work with us on that? Some of this information's duplicated, it looks different, but it's the same information. So I'm thinking we could probably streamline it a little bit, but I'd like to. Anyone want to volunteer?
Yeah, does anyone want to volunteer to assist in streamlining that process with them? Or some of the reporting would help us not go over some of the same information over and over again. And if no one wants to volunteer like now, we can like, you can always email Sammy. Is that right, Sammy? Can we do that?
It
Perfect.
will be minimal work,
Perfect.
just basically email.
And if nobody else, yeah, if nobody else is interested, I'll help you out.
Bob's here now, so he'll take over the financial report.
Good morning, everybody. I apologize for being tardy. This is Bob Bothwell. It looks like we're on the fiscal report. So currently, in 2025, with a beginning cash balance of negative $704,858, we've brought in approximately $4,234,086 in revenue, and we have expenditures in the amount of $4,098,149. And the current net operations balance is $135,937, leaving a cash balance of negative $568,921. So we're slowly moving out of that negative balance that we did have. It just takes a little bit of time, and fortunately we don't have too many big expenditures like some of the other boards, such as DOJ. Any questions on the fiscal? I'll talk to our fiscal folks and get 21 and 22 taken off there, unless the board would like to still see it. It just causes depression. Okay.
It's Tracy. This is Tracy. It's nice to see how far we've come. That's what it's good for.
Yeah, and we can always bring something like that back to you, a couple times a year.
Alicia, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I like seeing the progress of it all, actually, because it puts in perspective. Because if you just saw the 568,000, that actually seems really staggering. But then you look at how it's coming down. I don't know. That seems really relevant, actually, that information.
This is Bob. So I can clarify. We would just remove 21 and 22 and we'd leave 23 and 24 on there. That's typically what we do is have, 3 years on
3 years.
this report. I don't recall why it has so many years on it, but if you want to see it all, happy to do it. If you wanted me to have it minimized to a couple of years, we can do that too, as the information.
I mean, we could definitely remove this, Tracy, again, we can definitely remove 21. Maybe we can leave 22 on for a little while longer and then we can remove it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. The next report is the regulatory report. The Trappist Shuck, the regulatory manager, is on vacation. So I will cover his report real quick. Alicia had their hand up.
Sorry, if we're going to be removing some of the data, then I'm just curious, between 22 and 23, what was the increase by about 600,000 in revenue that year? Do you remember? Because it's
No.
the largest jump in increase or like in revenue we've seen, it looks like. So I'm just curious what that was.
I would only be guessing, but an increase like that could be DOJ.
Devices rulemaking.
Oh, actually, the year before it went up 800,000 between, interesting. Okay, thanks.
On to the regulatory report.
Yes, please.
So currently in the biennium 2021, there's a total of 14 cases still open. And you can see which license types those are under. And in 23, there's 46 current open. And in 2025, there is 164 current cases open and 122 have been closed. So it's been a pretty big year for regulatory biennium, 2025. And to the right of that, you can see the types of complaints, anywhere from, well, we've covered 2021 and 2023 several times, so I'll just focus on 2025, critical complaint, whatever. I'm not quite sure why they have critical in there and what that means, but there's one. And then licensing concerns, there's 147 cases, safety and sanitation, 76. Services provided on the hair. That's typically, it can be someone with a bad haircut that they complained about, or maybe an injury with chemical, services provided, 52 complaints, and 9 types that are unassigned. And I haven't seen any cases to even guess what that might be at this point. And you can see to the right of that, complaint types, a culmination of all of them. 284 are anonymous, 140 are from the compliant, and 666 are other. That could be a parent, that could be a guardian, that could be a doctor, right? It could be anybody else. Any questions on the regulatory report? Right. Thank you very much. And again, I apologize for being late.
Thanks, Bob.
It's moved.
Nope, that's good.
There.
Derek, you want to do the item writing committee update?
Sure. All right, hi everyone, it's Derek again. I want to give you a heads up. We are working on getting item writing committees together to work on the cosmetology exams. If you want to take a look at the testing results slide, that will give you an idea of potentially what test we should start with. I do want to let you know that the barber exam has been worked on, and as well as the laws and rules exam has been worked on. So it looks like the aesthetics, hair and nails, and potentially natural hair care would be the exams that we would be starting with. So based on the pass fail rates, is there a particular exam that the board would like us to start with?
I mean, this is Tracy. Hair is the lowest, so I mean, natural hair care is a little bit lower than that. This is Tracy. I think we should start with hair.
Okay.
When did this, Tracy again, when did barbering get worked on and when would the changes roll out or have they?
So the changes have not rolled out yet. We are waiting on our new testing system, and once we get that up and going, all the reworked exams will be uploaded to that.
Got it. I'd be interested. I'm interested in seeing what the pass fail, how it, improves or not. I'm sure it will. Oh, I read my numbers backwards. I apologize. I was reading the past ones. Sorry, this is really small.
I agree.
I'm like squinting, trying to look at everything.
The barbering was done in 2023. It was the last thing Corinthia did, and Brandon.
Got it. Does anyone else have opinions? What that we should start on? What that should be the first to attack?
Hey, this is Harold. Why don't you take a look at those that have the higher pass, or I'm sorry, failure rate, if we can
Yeah.
do that. Let's start there. For example, we've already completed the barber exam in 2023, the revisions. So do we want to start with nail at 33.2 and then go to laws and rules? What does everybody think about that?
Laws and rules had some work done on it already.
This is Chelsea Westcott. I do agree with starting with the one that would have the highest fail rate.
Right.
And natural hair care and hair would have the highest fail rate.
Thank you. You caught that. Thank you.
It looks like.
Thank you.
I feel you, Harold. It's okay.
Good catch.
So I think those might be the best. I feel honestly like natural hair care is kind of the most random of all of the tests because it's got the most random curriculum that goes with it, just the one PowerPoint. So I don't really know I don't have any recommendations, I guess, on where to go with that, having it just be a PowerPoint that they're learning from in the first place. I feel like hair would be more pertinent since it is coming from an actual school.
This is Tracy. I agree with that because that was kind of going to be my question was if we're pulling the questions for natural hair care out of that module, the PowerPoint, to me, it seems like the PowerPoint should be updated more so than the testing questions, maybe. But I know that was a conversation that we had a few meetings ago about, some of the concerns that wasn't enough information. And like I stated then, I think it's, a much larger conversation about, natural hair care in general.
I 100% agree with you, Tracy.
Alicia?
Yeah, I'm wondering if the fail statistics include multiple fails by a single person, and maybe they're skewed a little bit although that doesn't really seem the case, actually. So the fails you're calculating here or adding up are just, if someone like the person we just sort of looked over had failed 10 times, is the failure rate for that test adding up all the 10?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So do we know how many? Well, I'm trying to figure out how to suss the actual fail rate then of the number of people total versus one person failing 10 times and throwing off. Like, is it 11 people failing? I don't
20
know how to put this
times.
into words
I guess I
exactly.
should say.
This is Tracy. You're kind of asking, like, of the people who take it the first round, like, would that give you a clearer indication of like what the pass fail was? Everybody who took it the first time, how many passed and how many failed?
Yeah, because it's like the barbers, they really are failing. And I was just trying to figure out, why could that be? Is that barbers, like if you have 10 barbers graduating from school, do all 10 barbers go in and then maybe 8 of them have to take it again? So, oh, you're adding 2 or 3 fail rates to the same 10 people, or are all 10 people? I was just trying to maybe find another reason why they are so off the charts there with the fail rate. Is it just the questions in the test, or is it that the numbers are coming in a little differently?
We don't have that information now. Do you want it before you make a decision or recommendation? Or do you want us to bring that back in the October meeting?
Well, I think if you think the test needs to be worked on, it definitely should be worked on for sure. I just think it would be interesting to know, you know, how, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like if 10 people graduate from hair and 10 people graduate from barber and 9 out of 10 in hair pass, but 8 out of 10 barbers, whatever, fail, or whatever it ends up being.
I think that what that would do is tell us what schools we need help teaching.
Yeah, well, that's good information.
Probably really, really good information, and it would help us definitely do outreach for schools, which I know that's something that we're planning on doing in the future. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Can we start with hair?
This is Tracy. That's my vote, is to start with hair.
This is Chelsea. I agree. Start with hair.
This is Beatrice. I'm open to that. I think that it makes most sense when, if you're just looking at a number standpoint, the percentage shows that that's the one that needs to be probably starting off to focus with.
And this is Harold, yeah, and also the volume is there as well for hair versus the natural hair, so that would make sense.
Right.
All right, well, we will work on getting communications out and try to get some qualified individuals to serve on the committee.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
Okay. So everybody knows that this is Sammy, House Bill 2380 passed and was signed by the governor. It creates a provisional certificate for a field of practice that would basically a training program is what we're envisioning. I met with a few of us, met with Tracy to kind of go through some of kind of the school things that she was saying, some things we were saying. And she also provided in your packet is it Utah and California stuff?
Yes. Stats from Utah and some kind of the guidelines that they're using inside of California, some of the obstacles.
And so it's kind of some of the areas that we've been thinking about, or if somebody starts at a school, wants to switch to a training program, most states don't allow that. So those would be kind of some of the questions we'd be asking the Rules Advisory Committee. We would likely have a joint committee with me and Derek doing a committee together. And this is just what I'm envisioning. That would be like a training program similar to piercing. So in piercing, it's like 50, I'm just throwing numbers, 50 piercings need to be observed. 50 piercings need to be done with the person doing them, but being watched, and then 50 have to be alone, something like that. So it really specifies more what the training program entails rather than what the curriculum is more vague. Right, because the school is teaching their courses like they do, but we would need to script it more for a training program for these people in facilities, the supervisors. Does that make sense? So it's more descriptive, a training program.
I believe so.
You believe so? So my plan is in October, at the October meeting, I'll bring a schedule to the board, and you guys will make recommendations on who you want to serve, or what communities and people likely be affected by the rule changes, what your recommendations are, and we'll hit the ground running with the bill and get laws and rules up by January 1st of 2027. I have no idea the estimated number of racks we'll have to have.
Right.
Don't know. So.
Big task.
Does anybody have any questions about this? I mean, it's kind of like more to come. But just know that we're already working on it. I'm actually kind of using it as a training tool because we have so much new staff. So it's going to need a lot of eyes, a lot of eyeballs, and a lot of, different perspectives. So.
Alicia?
Yeah, I read through some of it. It's exciting. One of the things it said that is you could only do this sort of apprenticeship if you were outside the 50-mile radius of a school that provided the same program. And I was like, so basically is this, and I know you haven't even set the rules and nothing, but I just thought this is going to maybe keep this program to folks that live really far away from cities maybe, or was this program maybe intended more for, like, I just do hair straightening, right? And let's just say a school doesn't have a chapter in that. Would a specific thing in hair or nails or whatever qualify for an apprenticeship, like a little short-term apprenticeship? Anyway, I had a lot of questions. I think it's very exciting. That's it. Thanks.
This is Tracy. Yeah, I've got questions about some of that as well. Like, 50 miles, I brought it up to Sammy, 50 miles from a school, but does that mean that there will be a requirement for you to do your, internship or, your training program someplace 50 miles from a school as well? I think there's a lot of things for us to look at and, really dissecting what does your provisional, certificate actually cover for you? Like, say, I feel sorry for Sammy. Like there's going to be a lot to digest inside of this.
You absolutely should, because I have to do sign language at the same time.
Right.
That's okay. I got a lot to help, so.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is Tracy. Like when we talk about communities that are, when Sammy asks us what communities we think will be most affected, I really hope that we can come to the table and provide some information so that we can get people that are truly want the best for these communities that are being underserved, and make sure that we are also standing behind public safety and making sure that we're upholding the rules and regulations, laws and guidelines that we are here meeting about every year, all the time. So
I'd like to do maybe like 2 community engagements where we go to like somewhere on the beach, maybe somewhere in Southern Oregon, and then maybe Eastern Oregon, like Ontario or Pendleton. I don't know when that's all going to happen because that 18 months shrinks very quickly.
right.
So definitely like to do something like that. Because, the statutes for rules say if it's going to affect people in a geographical location that isn't norm, you should go there. So it would be a good opportunity. Of course, if you do it, people may come, people may not come. So, so we'll probably ask you guys, what you recommend to reach out to people, obviously facilities, licensees, but maybe some creative ways that we can get the word out.
That'd be great.
Actually, this is Alicia again. Something just occurred to me. I wonder if this would also set boundaries for maybe, I mean, I'll just use myself. Let's just say myself was solicited by a group of folks somewhere way far away and said, hey, come to us and teach us your knowledge. We will pay you and we'll let you stay at our house for 2 months. I mean, I have no idea. So will this allow folks to travel to remote places to have teaching? One could even make a round, like I get a minivan and I drive from one little town to this little town to this little town, and I just circle the state teaching my knowledge as sort of a traveling hairdresser teacher. Will it put boundaries on that, I wonder, as well?
Like, or would you be teaching the entire training or just bits and pieces?
No, there was a part in the diet or the text that said something, if a certain part of a program is not available, then one could seek an apprenticeship for that. So first thing I thought was textured hair. You know, it's like if someone's at one school and they don't have any education on that, could they go somewhere for a specialty class on textured hair or hair straightening, or this may even extend to tattooing. I don't know, because tattoo has an apprenticeship sort of heritage, but that's a different thing. But I have no idea. The ballpark is so big. So I was just sort of like brainstorming like all the different things that are going to come up.
Right.
But yeah, maybe for just a short-term thing, or maybe someone takes this seriously and goes and lives in a little town for an entire 6 months. I have no idea what someone might choose.
I think all those are great questions that I am going to consider and write them down.
Thanks, Sammy.
Thank you, Sammy.
Yes. Are there any other questions about that?
I was wondering what the possibility of virtual education would be.
Oh, wow.
Who's that? For whom is that? A board member? Oh,
This panel,
not public comment. I mean, technically, we are a public comment. Yeah,
We can, are we at a point where I can open it up for public comment?
absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. So at this time, the Board of Cosmetology will hear public and interested parties' feedback. Public comment is limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda or topics relevant to what this board has statutory authority to regulate. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes and will not be allowed if they are disruptive to the board's conduct of its business. If you're called on to comment, HLO will request the public member to unmute themselves. The chairperson and HLO reserve the right to end a person's comment early and have HLO staff mute the public member if the comment does not pertain to matters listed on the public agenda or topics relevant to what the board has statutory authority to regulate. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment? If so, please raise your hand or use MS Teams raise hand feature and wait to be acknowledged. Pamela.
thank you for the opportunity. I was wondering about virtual education. We're starting hybrid training in our Dallas location, and I think that could be a viable solution for some of the apprenticeship education. A little bit about myself. I am from California and worked in the Los Angeles apprenticeship program for many years. That was recognized by the state of California, and am very interested in helping out in apprenticeship programs here in the state of Oregon if need be. So there is the possibility of doing a hybrid type of education.
Thank you very
And
much.
that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Hello, this is Carrie Weed
Hi, Carrie.
with Gorge Academy. My question on this topic is there something about an approved facility where this apprenticeship program lives? Does it have to be, because an apprenticeship program, if somebody's teaching it, wouldn't they have to be licensed with HEC? And we're gonna have licensing on the curriculum that they're presenting.
This is Tracy. I mean, thank you for bringing these things up. These are some of the questions that I have as well. And I think it's going to be, what we're looking at when the, Rules Advisory Committee, the advisory committee comes together and talks about what it is they want this to actually look like.
Okay. And I assume that there would be some sort of a requirement for the people presenting this apprenticeship program that they kind of have to follow the same guidelines or rules that a school would have to go through to be approved to teach these. So if we had 7 steps we had to follow, are they required to get their private career school license, private apprenticeship license?
No.
Because not just anybody can, how are that, I guess the question is regulating the education that's presented.
Right. This is Tracy. I don't think we have answers to that right now. And I understand the concern that
Okay.
I've Seema and I've talked about it. I'm like, I know what we as an academy, as a school, what we have to go through to make sure that people understand the information, work safely on the public. So, it will still continue to be a priority to ensure that we are working safely and making sure that these trainers and the trainees are getting the adequate information that they need.
Okay. And then, yeah, if they're traveling, or are they virtual, or if they're in a licensed facility, I mean, there's so many things we have to go through for our physical location, not just even what we're taught. So, and then I guess my follow-up question is what's the steps and stages that this goes through? I know you had mentioned something about a committee. How does that get developed, and kind of what are the next steps to this that we can follow along?
Sammy, do you want to take that one? Thank you.
Yes, at the October meeting, I will bring a schedule to the board and they will approve the schedule, which will have Rules Advisory Committee and Qualification Committee combined dates. And they'll recommend persons and communities that would likely be affected by the changes to the rules. And then based on that, we would put the word out to those communities and people. And kind of the way we've been doing it, the way I did it for midwives is rather than putting a bunch of dates out there and then trying to get people to fit in the dates. I may bring the information back to you and say, do we have everybody? Because if I feel like we're missing people, we may put it back on the board to say, yeah, I think you're missing this group of people. It just kind of depends. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse anymore. Because then I'm everybody and there no one's available. So hopefully that won't be the case, but and then basically the process is the Rules Advisory Committee meets. I will draft the rules based on their recommendations. It'll come to the board. The board will say, approve the proposed rules. They may make changes to those before they approve them. Then I file them with Secretary of State. It's a 28-day window of public comment, at least 28 days, and there'll be a public hearing where people can come and tell us all the things they like about the rules, don't like about the rules, suggestions, how it would impact people financially. And then after that time is done, I'll present all the public comment hearings officer report to the board, and the board will make changes based on that information or not. and then adopt permanent rules. Hopefully, this will happen with a window of time for people to prepare. Like ideally 90 days, so people get things up and running. I don't know if that's gonna work, but maybe. If they have rules in place, I don't think we'll have to start supervising at that time, so. So that's the general process. I'll have more information in October.
Thank you, Sammy.
And then one quick follow-up question to that, if I may.
Absolutely.
Who should we contact if we want to be involved in the advisory committee, or if, we're looking at establishing something like that in our community? Now, obviously, as a licensed private career school, incorporating something like this within our existing facility, instead of your standard, core classroom and clinic floor and that kind of stuff, to adopt within our established facility an apprenticeship program like this already, who would we contact to get involved?
Josh Page.
Josh Page, okay.
Email is on the notice and agenda.
Okay.
And me and Josh will work
Hey,
on all that.
this is Alicia. Carrie, were you asking if you, as a school that is already established, want to start an apprenticeship program at your school?
It's something that would be of interest, yes.
Well, I think in the rules, the student cannot live within 50 miles of an actual school. So they wouldn't be able to come to your school for an apprenticeship, I don't think, if I'm reading this correctly, if you actually have a school already.
This is Tracy. I mean, that was the intent in this writing, was that this training program was intended to help facilitate training for people that live so remotely. They don't live near a school. So access to that education was not available to them. And so, yeah, it would kind of be counterintuitive if they were able to come to your school for a training program, but not enroll in school. That was, my perception is that's not the intention of the program.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Any other public party feedback? Great. Are we ready to enter into executive session?
Don't have one.
Oh, well, there you go.
Placeholder, but we didn't need it.
Perfect. And all this script, I don't have to read. That's great.
Right, for business.
Agenda number 5. So any other board business? Anything anybody wants to bring up? Okay. Are we good to close then?
So.
Awesome. Where's my script for that? Adjourning. The Board of Cosmetology meeting is adjourned at 10:57 a.m.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a
good
great day.
Bye.
Bye.